It's movie time, and we're back again with movie time. Hey, everyone, welcome to Movie Time Friday Night Edition. We had a lovely Friday afternoon edition, and now we are having a Friday night edition just for you. With me, of course, we have our two most brilliant co-hosts. We have my co-host Arpo. Hey, Arpo.
Hey, boy, what a great interview this afternoon. Hope you were all able to hear it, and if not, catch it on YouTube. It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it is the quintessential thing that you want to hear. It's like, and with me also we have Olaf. Hey, Olaf, how you doing?
Hey, I am doing great. So glad I could make this show, and sorry I missed this afternoon.
But he's
Uh,
alive. He's alive. He's back on. He's back on air. It's like,
So,
yeah,
and he's able to talk again.
yes.
So
yes,
now you're all recovered from your cold and everything, right?
As far as I can tell, so far, yes. It's I'm doing just wonderful.
Excellent.
so how was rehab? I mean, staying in bed for so long.
It's like, well, it was really fun. They gave us the really good stuff, and it really.
Yeah,
Yeah, they gave you the good drugs.
They gave
yeah.
me the good drugs. Yes, I loved it. It was great.
Yeah,
No,
it's
no,
like,
it's glad. I'm glad to be back. It's good to be back with you guys. I missed you guys.
yeah, no kidding. We missed you too.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah, it's like it was like nothing compares to you.
And besides, you think it's easy
Aw.
keeping up with this woman by myself? I need you, man.
Yeah, it's like it's that whole counterbalance thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we have a great show tonight. Also, it's like wanted to let you know we will be having Michael back again, probably on our next week's show. So watch out for that because it's like he just dropped an incredible thing that went on with our interview. Now tonight we're also going to do a little bit of our weekend review because we have had two great guests who have really given us some really good food for thought to chew on, and both are going to be back again in future shows. Wouldn't you say, Arpo, that John really had some interesting insights?
Yes, he really did. I liked the whole thing where he talked about the marketing of the documentary Ride the Divide. I mean, I'm sitting there listening to everything they did and how they targeted their audience and targeted their markets, and then targeted markets within that market, and then targeted markets within the markets within the markets. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, did these people do anything wrong? I don't think so.
Yeah, and I mean, it came out to a brilliant project at the end of the day. Olaf, you had a chance a little bit to review some of this stuff as well. Do you think that it was actually quite informative, the information that was given to you, that being that if you were a filmmaker in the youth ages, would in the beginnings of film of your actual project or even television, was the information helpful to you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it was. It's very helpful because you know, they got into things that you wouldn't really think of normally doing, and it, kept expanding. Like Arvo was saying, it, like go to this market and then target this market, target that market, keep going into to the different levels of the different markets and everything. It's like, yeah, it was. I think it was very informative.
Yep. We just got also today really schooled into a good lesson of the capital stack. So if you want to know anything about the capital stack and how to build your capital stack, you should listen to this show with Michael Mendelson tonight. It's like he
He
is,
actually
wow.
broke it down like step by step, everything to do to get from 0% of your of the money you need for the movie to 100% of the money you need for the movie.
Yes.
And it was amazing.
Yes, we have had like awesome guests over our time period. It's like that have also broken down the capital stack for us. But this is also your clearest version, also of breaking down your capital stack for you as well. That it's like it is one of the. It's like yes, it is a way that you can understand why they are doing what they are doing now.
Yeah. And
Jeanette
he made
Burling
it
did it a
sound
beautiful one too.
yeah. But But Michael made it sound deceptively easy.
Yes. And as well as also he made it sound like, okay, this is where you need it, why you need to do what you do.
Yep.
And this is why you must break down the capital stack in this manner. And it's like understanding also about, you know, how it works with the studio system. He also gave a very interesting perspective of that. Olaf, would you say that in regards to the perspective that he's giving, because he had made mention of the fact that with the studios, there is a reason as to why they're going towards tent poles. Did you find that also interesting?
Yes, I did. It was it just like I said, these interviews have been just so informative, and you just you sit and listen, and it's like, wow, because they've gone into such great detail of how and why, and it doesn't leave you with really any questions of why you should do that or why they're doing what they're doing. It's just awesome.
Yeah, we have had incredible guests over this season of Movie Time. And coming the summer, the reason why we're also doing this show is because coming the summertime, we are going to be slowing our roll down probably by mid-July. Is that not correct, Arpo?
Yeah. In On the 12th, we'll have John Reese, and that will be pretty close to the end of the season for us.
Yes, for this particular season at this moment, we will start up again eventually, probably at the end of August towards that, or unless we have a guest that absolutely must have us in between. But the reason why is that we are talking about also all of our guests because it's like there was some interesting information with Michael Seller. He talked about the content creation. With even John Reese, he talked about the fact of how you do the marketing. In regards to also every single guest, Ellie Partovi, dealing with dealing with that industry as well. Catherine Swan. It's like the plethora of guests that we've had over this season have been absolutely amazing. Every year, Franco Sama, it's like every year we get so many wonderful, wonderful people.
Yes, and yeah, this has been just a season of just awe because of all the guests that we've had have just been phenomenal and super informative, and they don't hold anything back. They let you know everything you need to know. So it's
Yep.
just been awesome.
And of course, next season is going to be the 5th season for this show. So we are hoping that we are going to make it even bigger and better than ever.
Yeah. And also, we had an incredible announcement, though, also today at the end of this show of the Michael Mendelsohn show. And we're not going to crack it for our audience because we want you guys to actually watch it and listen and take in this because this is your opportunity to really get it in front of
They
somebody who
won't.
knows what they will do.
They won't even tell me. And I'm on the show. They won't tell. They wouldn't tell me before the show what it was. They're going, you got to listen to the show. I'm like,
Yes, this is one of those must see TV kind of things. It's like must listen to this show because you will not be regretting hearing from it.
I
And
will just simply say it is the biggest bomb I think any guest has ever dropped on us. It was like, I was saying during our pre-chat, I was telling Olaf that Grayson and I were both just trying to keep ourselves from going, yes, 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 yes.
yes, it was like, oh my god, yeah,
We're trying to be cool and go, oh yes, that sounds good.
yeah. And it's like, no, we're not thinking that we're sounding at all a bit dorky during that time. And I'm like, okay, just keep it cool, keep her cool. You know, don't say anything. Don't blow this.
don't
Don't say
don't
anything.
don't start jumping up and down and going
Yeah,
yay, even though
yeah.
you're not. Don't mute and start going yay, and doing the happy dance. Yeah, just keep it cool. Yes,
Yeah.
that sounds lovely. That's wonderful. Hmm.
Yeah. In the meantime, we're going like, everybody got a party.
Dance, baby, dance now. Boom, 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 boom. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
it is that kind of an announcement.
Yes.
It
Oh my
will
god! Oh my gosh!
literally blow your minds.
For Arpo to do that, oh my gosh! It's like, okay, let's get done with the show so I can go watch the other one. For him to do that, I gotta see what this is.
Yes. And I'm telling you, all of you listeners want to do the exact same thing. You really want to tune in on this one.
But please wait until this show's done because this is going to be a good show
Yes.
too.
Yes, absolutely. It's like one of the things
I, I
that
I think I'm having computer internet issues. I'm get I don't.
We know that trick, Olaf. Forget it.
Oops.
yeah,
Ah.
I break it, yeah, that.
Darn it.
But yes, it's like you will definitely do that. And as I said, with all of the shows and all of the guests we've had, every single one of them has had really fascinating bits of information that have brought it through. And it's like I am excited about future up and coming guests as well. We will also be talking very soon to a couple of film guarantors, so you will understand about bonding shows and insurance and stuff. It's like this is
Cool.
something that it's like a lot of people don't realize that it's like having a good guarantor is so critical to your
And
show.
if you're one of those people who believes that hell is an eternal dinner with an insurance man, let me just say, not in this case.
No, in this case, you're talking about people who it's like they deal with the gap finance that Michael had made mention of and talks a lot about the gap. They're also the insurers that it's like basically they are going to save you if God forbid that something happens on set, like you put your stuff in the middle of a water scene and your equipment goes out with high tide.
Oops.
That's a true story. That's
Or
call the insurance. Tell them our cameras are in the middle of the ocean.
or if you decide that you're going to put your camera on the floor and then ride a car over it where it goes crunch. Yes, this too has all of these things have all happened to somebody somewhere.
They were trying for that super realism shot, and they got it, but they destroyed a $100,000 camera.
Yes, in the process.
I felt sorry for the cameraman. He was just lying there going, "Boy, this is going to go look great in 3D."
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it, or liability insurance in regards to your actors. For one shoot that I was doing, it's like the actors were wearing pretty dangerous equipment, and they require. It's like it's a very good thing that you have liability insurance. For example, if your actor injures themselves during a stunt, and you need to shut down film for a couple of days to let them recover, or go to the hospital while they're setting their arm, or have people who need to cut off a suit from your stunt performer because they're literally having an issue and are in the emergency room. So these are things that your insurance is very important about.
Yes.
They also,
2 words. Jackie Chan,
yes,
who has never made a movie without injuring himself. I hate to imagine what he has to pay for insurance every time he makes another movie.
it would be production that pays that, and it's like, ouch.
Yeah.
I just don't want to know his health care policy. Like his personal health care policy. It's like that must be like 5 years salary.
Yeah.
Like we'll insure you for liability, but don't necessarily want to have that. It's like, yes, or there are actors who it's like there are certain actors who are bondable and are insurable, others that are not because of reckless behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to know which ones are, which ones aren't.
I think I fall under the not bondable
They're
because
not
of reckless behavior.
okay. Running people over with tractors is not a reckless behavior. That's an actual favor to some people in society.
Ah, okay, then I'm bondable.
Okay.
That's just improving the gene pool.
Yes.
There we go. Okay. Oh, good. Now I'll remember that next time.
Yes.
Yep. That next body that you run over, you just have to say that you know what you're just enacting Darwinism,
Ah, okay.
survival of the fittest.
Well, that's the simpler thing. It's kind of the like the things where you're like leaning out way over the way too far over one side, hammering something upside down, and things like that. Kind of gets a little interesting.
Yep. So I
I
mean,
I actually did that one time. I
yeah.
was in college. We were building a set. I was in the theater department. I was building a set. I was on an A-frame ladder with an extension, and I'm at the very top of the extension with my legs wrapped around it, leaning over the top of the set and hammering some wood trim into it. And the ladder started to tip away, and I grabbed onto the set to try and ride it, and I couldn't, and it tipped over. The flat came loose from the set, fell on top of me, and that was when I learned my first really important lesson about theater.
Duck.
If you're falling, don't grab the set.
Yeah. It's not nailed to anything.
Yes, it's not going to help you, and it's just making more work for us.
Yes, it looks like a building. It looks like a sturdy building. It's just cardboard up there. No. It's like, oh yeah, that's I was doing the ladder tricks last week, painting my house, and you're on the top of a 8-foot step ladder, the very top rung, 1 foot on one side, 1 foot on the other side, so I can reach up high enough to get what I need to get to. And it was like going, I'm not quite as agile and well balanced as I used to be,
Yeah.
but I survived.
Excellent. You live on for another day.
Yes,
Yep.
and so do we all.
Yes. So what we are trying to also make mention in our roundabout way is that we will be talking to insurance companies, towards bonding companies, to understand why your investors will feel much safer as kittens knowing that your show is bonded and that there is somebody looking out for their money, not only the producers.
Yes.
And they play a very valuable role. And we will get to be able to hear a lot about that. We'll also talk to other gap financiers over our time period, as well as also a few. We also have coming up also in our new season as well. Gordon Firemark has said that he will come back to us again to talk more entertainment law, which will be great.
Yes, that is
Oh.
so important.
Oh yes.
Yeah, because we have not even began to touch things like copyright, trademark, how they differ. And now with these new cases that have come up with DMCA takedowns and pre-70 recordings and what's going on with all of those things, it's a lot of things that are going on in the industry. We'll also be speaking with as well in terms of storybook art, storybook people and storyboarders, more animators. So we're looking at a really exciting season. few more distributors that will be coming aboard as well during the season. Also, this year it's like, oh my gosh, Cannes Film Festival, AFM coming up. Definitely want to get in on the AFM this year. So, I mean, it's a wild and exciting show that's coming up in a wild and exciting season. And we've had a brilliant season. This is a season of shows that it's like all of our seasons prior to. It's like that you're getting more and more information, and like I said with Michael Mendelsohn tonight, the information that you got was invaluable. He and Michael Gianfrido both.
Yeah.
Which brings us to an interesting topic of tonight's show: why we do what we do. It's like, why this project? And let's talk about that a little bit, because when we're talking about why this project, we're not only talking about why this podcast exists. Also, why is it when you're writing, why do you write what you write? What is it that drives you to the writing table? Which is kind of an interesting subject, because dealing with the fact that many people can feel inspired to do things. It's like, it's like how many people have said to you, I have this brilliant idea for a script, or I have this brilliant idea for this book, or I have this brilliant idea for this TV series. How many of them actually get to doing actually that? Writing it.
Exactly.
Very, very few. Like just the same thing is like, oh, I've got a great idea for a novel, and 10 years later, how far have you gotten on it? Oh, the first chapters, first 10 pages are done.
Yeah.
The dedication.
Yeah, they didn't even get to the dedication. It's like maybe the first couple of pages are done, and well, and so what has stopped you? Oh, I don't know. Well, first of all, if it's stopping you and you're feeling compelled to stop, one of the things that a lot of writers have been told, and they talk about this in a lot of webinars, everybody has time to write. It depends on your, it's like not, I'm not saying that people do not have busy lives and busy schedules, but certainly we can all carve out a 15-minute time period to write something.
Yeah.
In a day.
Play one less game of solitaire or hearts on your computer,
Right.
and use that time to write.
Yeah. So why do we do what we do? Why do we write the subjects we write? What drives our passion to do that? Well, it's like it depends, because each one of us have written things down. So Arpo, what inspires you to write?
What inspires me to write is reading other people's writings.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the most important thing. Even Stephen King, in his book on writing, said, you cannot be a writer if you're not a reader first.
Yes.
Because that is the best way to learn the craft, is to read how other people write and find your own voice.
Yeah. And Olaf, what got you into writing?
I just felt that the experiences and stuff that I've had, that it needed to be shared, and so that other people could learn from my triumphs and from my mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully it would what by something what I something I've put down, that they would, oh well, he did that and that went wrong, so I know not to do that.
Yep. Relatability of the
Right.
subject. And writing down your experiences, it's like also because other people have had those kinds of experiences. Now,
And also, for me, when I wrote what turned out to be in the end a little fiasco called The Man from Schenectady, I set myself the goal of trying to write something that was as funny as I could possibly make it
Mm-hmm.
and still have a plot.
Yes.
And I mean, I started off with just various scenes where I came up with, you know, funny dialogue and gags and stuff like that. And then I connected them together with the story. And in the end, what I had was a script that everyone who read the script said, "Oh my God, this is the funniest script I've ever read."
Mm-hmm.
And then I picked the wrong director
Ah.
who
And
had no clue about comic timing.
yep. So it just decided to. Then the script died with the director.
Yeah, because even people who saw the funny project said the movie was horrible, but the script was funny.
Yes.
You know, the jokes were good.
Mm-hmm. He just didn't get the didn't cut the humor of where the jokes were,
Yeah,
and that can happen during the filmmaking process. It's like there's no such thing as a perfect thing that does happen. It's like we all wish there was a trifecta of that,
yes.
and that we could that we all could do that. You know, where is that magic 8 ball?
I think Olaf had it last.
Okay. Yes, definitely it is in his corner.
Oh, we're in trouble then, because I
Yeah.
can't remember where I put it. Oh no.
Oh
Oh
no.
wait. Oh wait. I'm behind it. Never mind. I know where it is now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, and this is where, as we said, you know, sense of humor, things like that. It's like when you write, it's like you're doing it because there's something that also moves you, inspires you.
Yes.
Yeah. For one of the pieces I wrote, I did 7.5 years of research in regards to it. And that sounds like a lot when you think about it. But I really wanted to know my subject well. I was writing during the time that I actually had done the research. But I wanted to know the subject before I actually, you know, completed the script. And that's every time I learned something new, I made a revision to the script. Because it was like, oh my God, you know, it's like, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I even went so far as having somebody who was a psychic who told me some interesting stuff. And I was like, okay. So again, looking at it for why do we do this? It's like, so what makes us want to tell our story? Where does that story come from? Where do you think it comes from, Olaf, for you?
Comes from the heart,
Mm-hmm.
and because you want to, get your feelings, your thoughts, um, your highs, your lows, and with the idea that something from what I've done might help somebody else to maybe not, you know, hit the same pitfalls that I did,
Yep. Follow a
and
different path.
follow a little bit different path, or maybe go down one of the pitfalls that I had, and turn it around into something positive.
Yep.
So, but it's like it comes from the heart.
And what about you, Arpa? Where does it also come from the heart, or is there something emotional behind it? Because you've done both fiction and nonfiction.
Well, there has to be something emotional behind it, or you're just simply not going to write a good story. That's number one. Not necessarily from the heart. I mean, we have an emotional center in our brains as well. And I tend to be kind of more of a cerebral person. So, my ideas start in my brain and then move into the emotional center. Now, they'll probably end up in my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for just for example, uh, I showed you that little treatment I had
Yes.
I did for a movie about a certain magical place, we'll just say.
Mm-hmm.
And, have I started writing it yet? No, because there are a wealth of books written about this magical place, and I want to read them all to make sure I truly understand the
Your
characters,
and
because
your
I want to
medium.
be true. Yeah, and the media, because I want to be true to what I'm writing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that takes time, but that comes back to be a good writer. Got to be a good reader. You got to be willing to do the research to do it right.
Yes. And you got to be willing to also sacrifice the time. See, a lot
Yeah.
of people, this is another thing, is the I don't have the time to write. I don't have the time to do this. I'm
Then you
extensively busy.
then you don't really want to do it.
Yeah.
That's what that boils down to is like when, oh, I've got this great idea for a book, and when I get time, I'm going to write it. Yeah, then you're not ready yet because you're not passionate enough about it to say I'm going to even though I've got a chaotic, crazy schedule, and maybe you've got kids and all this that you're dealing with, and you do have a lot on your plate, but
Yep.
until you decide I'm going to take after the kids go to bed and everything's I get everything done, I'm going to spend a half hour or an hour and I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
write every night, or
Yep.
I'm going to write Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, because those are my least busy days. I'm going to write those 3 days. Till
Yep.
you set that time to where you actually sit down, even if it's once a week, you sit down and you dedicate a certain amount of time just to write.
Yep.
You know, till you do
And
that, you're not passionate enough about whatever it is that you're going to do.
Yes.
and here's another very important point. If you really want to get into the habit of writing, set aside the same block of time every time you're going to write.
Mm-hmm.
Say, this is the time when I write,
Yep.
and don't do anything else at that time. Maybe between 8:30 and 9 o'clock in the morning, 3 days a week, I'm going to write.
Yeah. Those are
Because
my
if
writing
you
days.
if you do it at the same time every day,
Right.
you'll get into the habit, and your mind will get used to, okay, this is where I have to start spilling out the ideas.
Yep. This is writing time.
Yeah.
And that's another thing is that when you're looking at writing, don't get distracted at other things that are moving around with you. Yes, it's like one of the things that I like to call my writing zone is my cone of silence. What I do is with my cone of silence, I tend to take the time to write where nothing disturbs me at that moment. I don't have any music on. I don't have any distractions going on. Nobody talks to me during that time period. I am completely in what's known as the cone of silence in my mind, which means that I am alone with my thoughts. I can censor my thoughts or not censor my thoughts. I get to have those moments to just be in with my writing and in with those words and be able to express and share at those very moments. Do you guys have codes of silence, or are you able to write in chaos as well?
I
For
can't
me,
really write in chaos. In fact, one of the things I was going to recommend to people too, it's a really good idea. Turn off your cell phone. If you got a landline, unplug it from the wall while you're writing.
Yep.
Don't let a phone call keep you from writing,
right
because it will.
now,
Yep.
for me, I can either you know be I can write in the middle of chaos, or it doesn't matter. Or it's because it's just my brain's weird anyway. So, I can I can be in the middle of middle of chaos and still like, oh, there's an idea and write it down.
Yep. The only reason I cannot do that is because it's like once my concentration is broken, at that point in time, the thought process is broken with it.
Well, part of for me, the reason I can like I'll stop in the middle of in the middle of something or even in the middle of a phone call where I can be talking to somebody and an idea hit me and I can jot it down and is because my for my career what I did is like I just it was total chaos most of the time anyway because I was always working on machines that were broke down and had to be back running and I had to be doing like 10 different things at the same time. So
Yep.
I was constantly multitasking. So my brain just functions in a way that allows me to, I can be, fixing something and, you know, I'm thinking, oh, wow, that's, an idea will come to me about something and I can, you know, either jot it down or I can remember it. And then when I get done with what I'm doing, then I just quickly write it down.
Yep.
That's interesting because that kind of goes back to something that Michael Mendelson was saying in the interview earlier today, that the best person you can meet in this business is the one who can use both the left and right sides of his brain.
Mm-hmm. The
And that's
creative and business side. Yeah, it's like the creative and business sides,
Right.
and can marry the two of them together. It's like, which is a very important thing. A lot of people, we've talked about it in various episodes, have now started stressing this towards us, and we can't really reiterate it enough. Um, this is an industry that is a business first before it is a pleasure. Before it is artistic, it is a business first. If you don't understand the business side of it, when I'm writing, I write with both sides of my brain also. Of I visualize first everything, and I write free verse. If it comes in my head, it goes on the paper. Then I start censoring myself, and then I start going, okay, let's break this down as though that it was actually happening. What's the cost of it? Like
that's that's an interesting approach, actually.
Uh-huh.
yeah, because I don't believe that the first draft of anything you should censor yourself, because sometimes your most brilliant ideas come when you are uncensored, when you don't put the restraints on. I've done writing where I've had an outline on it of what I'm looking to write, and it's only a personal preference. I find it repressive
Yeah, but
in
if,
some
if
cases.
it's like if I do stuff uncensored, usually the guys in the little blue uniforms with the little flashy lights on top of their cars usually show up.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and if I do stuff uncensored, sailors tend to blush.
There you go.
Well, actually, well, in my case, what will happen many times, and it's like pretty much how I described writing The Man from Schenectady, an idea for a scene will come into my head,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll be like, well, that's a good scene, and I'll just sort of file it away. And then when I get enough scenes filed away in my head, I write them all,
Yep.
and then I go back and put them in order, and then start tying them all together.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
for example, I mean, earlier today when I was doing some shopping, and this idea just popped into my head. One of my characters is in a room, and he's like, he's looking around. He's going, "I know there are people watching me. Well, you can't keep me in this room." And he goes and tries the door, and it's locked. And he says, "Okay, maybe you can keep me in the room, but that doesn't mean I'm going to like it."
Yes.
And it's
And
like, that's a nice little scene.
Yeah.
It's gone into the file. It will stay there.
Yes.
I will not forget it.
Yeah. But those are the kinds of things that sometimes, yes, I'm not saying that I don't write notes down, but the first time that I'm writing through, if I'm looking at a story, I look at it through the eyes of I need to be able to not censor anything out of my head.
Yeah.
If it comes into my head, it has to go on the paper. And I will take blocks of time at that moment to write. Why I say I find it repressive is because sometimes something extra brilliant will come into my head, and it's like I feel that if I'm breaking the guideline on the right if I don't finish at least the thought.
Yeah.
With it, where it's like if I'm doing it free versed, where I just let my writing creatively flow, even if it doesn't make sense when I'm reading it the first time around. After writing it down, then it will begin to start making sense as I'm fettering through the ideas and getting a more formalized way of writing. The second time around is when I do like the what I call chaotic scheduling of it. You know, like in this scene, this is what I want to accomplish. In this scene, this is what I want to accomplish. You know, and because it's not an easy thing to do. Now, that being said, why we do what we do, why it's like, what is our next thing that we do when deciding we're going to pick this project up? Okay, it's like, so we have it there. A lot of people have fear of showing it to somebody. Going, well, what if they don't like it?
Then you have to go back and try, rework it.
Yeah. One
That's
of
all.
one of the things I've said to people is show it to 5 different people, but show it to a complete stranger. Show your work to a complete stranger because a complete stranger owes you nothing.
Yeah.
Your friend, it's like I understand that people are like, oh yeah, show it to your friends and family. I use a little bit of a different method. It's the let me show it to a complete stranger without asking them anything for it, other than their opinion. Because if you as a complete stranger can't get through it, it means that the story needs tweaking. One thing. The
Yeah.
other thing that
Right.
the reason why you want to show it to complete stranger is because again, complete stranger is going to be completely honest with you. Your friends and family are going to try and be as delicate as they can be.
And I'm sure all of us have those friends that shoot straight from the hip. They tell it like it
Yeah.
is. They don't pull any punches, and you have them here. Take a look at this. What do you think? And they'll tell you straight out what they think, and that's usually that's a good thing. But you know, in the end, your friends and family will probably read whatever you write, or they'll watch the movie, or the whatever it is, they'll watch it because you did it.
Yes.
But if you give it to a complete stranger and they go through, or they look at it and they're like going, wow, this is great, I like that, I was you had me after the 2 minutes into it, I was hooked. And because 99.8% of the people that are going to watch it or read it or whatever, watch it or read it, are strangers.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you'll get your best reaction from a stranger.
Yes.
Yes. Go to your local library and ask them if you can do a public reading.
Yep.
They'll be
Also,
happy to set it up because it gets people into the library.
Right.
yes. There's also theater groups that you can get together to have them read out your scripts or read
Yeah.
out your novels. They'll act out the characters for you. A lot of times it's like that's something that a lot of people don't realize. If you do that, then you can see it in front of you. If it's reading well, doesn't read well. If your novel reads like smoothly, or are you getting people that are like, I don't get this. What exactly is supposed to be going on here?
Yeah. Yeah. do like they do for many television shows. You just have everybody sitting around a big table. Everybody's got a script. Everybody's got the character they're going to play. And you just say, okay, fade in, go. And you sit there and you read the whole script. Everybody does their characters. And you'll actually hear how it's going to flow.
Right.
Yes.
And be prepared to take lots of notes. Because, if it's a rough draft, there's going to be a lot of spots where you're going to say, ooh, that didn't flow well at all.
Yeah. Or there's going to be spots that you're going to be going, oh my God, that's freaking brilliant.
This
Why
is
did,
true.
yes. Why didn't I think of it? So, yes, you want to make sure that you do this and that you are 100% going with the flow of the actual script. So another thing that you want to also understand is when you're writing, um, people have got to understand where you are coming from, why you do what you do, and it's like it's not only another thing is telling truth in your story.
Yes. There has to be, and I by telling truth in your story, we're not saying that it has to be a true story. We're saying you have to have an honesty in your
Yes,
story and be loyal to that. It can be something in Middle Earth, okay, that has nothing to do with Earth. It is obviously not a true story, but the story has to be true to itself. It has
it
to
does.
follow
Right.
logically. You can't just decide, ooh, I should toss a three-headed talking dragon in the middle of this.
Yes, because
Well,
obviously,
no, yeah, it's obviously very wrong.
yes,
Yeah. Especially if you throw him into the middle of a western town. Like, why is that there? Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Well, Disney did that with Pete's Dragon,
yeah,
but that was an exception to the rule.
Right. It was Disney. They can figure them things out, and make them work.
Yeah.
yeah, and this is something that you guys got to it's like the audience has got to understand. Why is it that this all happens? Now, when it comes down to it, why do we do what we do with this show? Why do you think what do you do what you do with this show, Arpo?
Well, about what was it? About 3 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
Kente mentioned that you guys were doing a topic that was something that I had some knowledge about, and said, could I come on the show and talk about it with you guys? I said, sure. And then Kente said, hey, you want to come back next week? And I said, okay. I came back the next week, and then I said, you know what? I'd like to do this all the time. Why? Because it gives me a chance to use my brain. I get to learn something while I am doing a show that is interesting other people, and trying to be a little bit entertaining without ruining the basic serious atmosphere of the show. Yeah, I joke around sometimes, but not ever at the guest's expense.
Yes. And Olaf, what do you what inspired you to do what you do here?
You made me.
Yay! My powers of persuasion have truly worked.
Oh no, it's like, well, when you first asked me to co-host with you, and we started doing the show. It just is. It's just such an interesting topic to me, and I love talking. I love talking about the movies and stuff, and how they're made, and all the things that you don't normally get to. You don't normally have that opportunity uh, to know about. And it's like, I just love working with you guys. It's like I enjoy it, and I've learned a lot, and I just love doing it.
And I love working with you guys. It's like each and every week and doing the show. And also, it's like the reason why the show came to be. It's not because Kinte forced me, because Kinte did not force me to do the show. It's like in regards to that, it's like feel that there is a need in this industry and the entertainment industry at all platforms to understand what goes on behind the scene, because I had heard enough times over the years people who had been like, "What a great movie!" It has to be the actors in front of it. Yes, the actors are an integral part of it. Oh, you've been in the industry for a number of years. It's like in regards to it, it's like the show came to be because also there was a vast amount of things that needed to happen, that needed to be said about this industry. And
Hmm.
after learning from so many wonderful mentors and gurus, people who are just like absolutely brilliant, I had to get people to know and to share it with them and know what was going on in this actual industry and understand the behind the scenes. Yes, what you're seeing in front of the camera is the end result. What
Right.
happened behind the camera, all of those days and all of the painstaking hours that people have done to go into this to make the product that you see in front of you, that's priceless.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
And everybody says, "Oh, making movies, that's got to be so much fun." And there is an element of fun in making a movie. I mean, if there's not an element of fun in making a movie, then the movie is not going to entertain. But what people don't understand is all the months and even years of mind numbing work that
hmm
has gone into this project to get it to the point where we could have fun in front of the camera.
Yeah.
right.
And that's what this show, tries to fill in that gap to let people understand there's a lot more you have to know about making a movie than lights, camera, action.
Yes.
Right. Well, and the other thing with me, where I came from to when I came to the show was, from doing the other shows on indie radio, and you know, going to conventions and interviewing the celebrities, and that's it just really, I think I really enjoyed the fact that I get to be part of movie time, because I get to find out about the other side. Because I've got a lot of actors who are friends of mine and stuff, over the years that I've interviewed and talked to enough times and seen at the conventions, and uh, through
Mm-hmm.
through the movie time, I get a better idea of what they go through on the sets and what they have to do. And I've been a part of a couple of live action films, like
Yep.
independent films that are still in the process of being made. But so, and years ago I used to
So
do
somewhere
video
in
work.
this world, there's a cutting room floor with a strip of film of Olaf going, "What?"
Yeah, there's a there's scenes where I'm standing beside my police car, kind of going, basically about like that, kind of like, huh? What? Did you
Yeah.
really just run away from me? Really? So it gives. I just love doing it.
Well, and no, we love also all of us being together too. It's like we have a great time, and also it's like we also want to hear from you guys in the audience. What have you thought over the season? Who's been somebody who it's like you've drawn inspiration from in regards to this? So if you want, you can comment with us as well and let us
And
know
yeah,
this.
yes, and tell us, who would you like to hear come back?
Yeah. And what subjects would you love to hear more about and more covered on as well? So in the meantime, Arpo, how do they get you in social media?
They can't anymore.
Okay.
I'm too busy on other projects. I can't be on social media. Now, of course, you can reach me on Facebook. That's for social. For business, you can reach me on LinkedIn. I've been known to less and less frequently haunt the forums at the Movies Underground. And of course, I just like the chat, so, give me a Skype. But if you're going to do that, make sure you tell me you're a fan of Movie Time, because I get way too many offers of marriage from Armenian women.
Yep. Not a fun thing to have. It's like, and you know what? They can learn to cook American food. They can cook North American food, or
Not
I
the
can
way
teach,
I like it.
or I can teach them how to make poutine,
Oh, there you go.
and then they can feed you the poutine.
Yes.
How does that sound? And then you can marry an Armenian woman.
Oh, boy. You have just filled my life with joy at this moment.
See, I told you she made me.
And Olaf, how do we stalk you in social media?
Well, you can stalk me on both Facebook and Twitter at Olaf Barbosa, but just don't stalk too close because I do get nervous and I do have an itchy trigger finger.
Kablam.
And with me, you can also get me at LinkedIn, Wikipedia, Facebook, Twitter at Sonata Grayson, at Movietime Indie. Oh gosh, at on this YouTube channel on www.pastlivesproductionsinc.net, and also with 4 pages of footprint on the internet. If you really can't find me, you're not stalking me hard enough. So please join us again next week when we have another fabulous episode of Movie Time coming up. And be sure to listen in and absolutely catch that announcement, because that announcement will, if you miss it, oh my gosh, you are missing out.
It is an announcement that could conceivably, literally, change your life.
Absolutely. And now that we've also wet your whistle enough, Olaf, we're going to let you go also, so that you go and listen to it as well.
Yeah, yay! I get to listen. I get to find out. Yay!
Yeah. And until next time, we will see y'all then.
So long.
Thanks for listening.